Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Tuesday, May 28th meeting of the Pierce County Council. The time is 3:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Campbell. Here. Councilmember Krueger. Here. Councilmember Denson. Here. Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin. Here. Councilmember Morrell.
Here.
Councilmember Mello.
Here.
You have 7 members present.
We have all 7 members present and a quorum. Item number 3 is our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, our moment of silence, and our land acknowledgement. In honor of Memorial Day, our moment of silence is dedicated to those who have sacrificed their lives while serving in the United States military. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, a moment of silence in honor of the men and women who have lost their lives while serving our country, followed by the land acknowledgement. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our land acknowledgement is that we acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize this land acknowledgement is one small step toward true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, the experiences, and the histories of the indigenous people of this land. We're at item number 4, approval of our agenda. Are there any objections to approving today's agenda as presented? Seeing no objection, the agenda is approved. On today's council agenda, there will be multiple opportunities for public comment. On the consent agenda, you may provide comment on any final action item. This does not include items placed on the consent agenda simply for introduction or scheduling. On today's consent agenda, there are 4 sets of minutes for approval and 3 appointment resolutions for final hearing and subject to public comment. During sections 8 and 9 of the agenda, we will take public comment on each ordinance and resolution individually. And finally, under community forum, there will be an opportunity to address the council on any topic that is not on today's agenda. For more information on our rules for public participation, please review the bottom of page 1 of today's agenda. That brings us to section 5, our consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? Vice Chair Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move approval of the consent agenda as amended, moving items C2B and C2C to section 9 and approve the consent agenda as amended.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the consent agenda with the exception of items C2B and C2C, which will be moved to section 9 of our agenda. This is a public hearing on the remaining final action items on the consent agenda. Does any member of the public wish to provide comment on the consent agenda? We'll start here in chambers. Please come to the podium if you wish to do so. We're on the consent agenda. Not seeing anybody here in chambers. Mr. Weinsbury, anybody in our Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on any final action items, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the consent agenda.
Councilmember Krueger. Aye. Councilmember Denson. Aye. Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is adopted. Item number 6, messages from our executive and other county elected officials. There are none today, which does bring us to Section 7, proclamations, recognitions, awards, and presentations. Today, the council recognizes the month of May 2024 as Transit Month in Pierce County. I'd like to invite our recipients to the podium as Vice Chair Campbell reads the proclamation into the record. We are pleased to be joined by Ryan Wheaton, the Executive Director of Planning for Pierce Transit, Laura, you would think I could pronounce your last name by now, a Commute Transit Reduction and Advocacy Manager with Downtown on the Go. Are we joined by anyone else that you're aware of? Okay. Well, we're so grateful that you're here. Vice Chair Campbell to read our proclamation into the record.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all for joining us. Proclamation, the Pierce County Council recognizing June 2024 as Ride Transit Month in Pierce County, Washington. Whereas Pierce County has multiple modes of public transportation that connect people to work, education, commerce, medical care, recreation, and community resources, including, but not limited to, Sound Transit, Pierce County, and State Ferry and Washington State Ferry systems, and school buses. And whereas the Pierce County Council remains committed to providing more transit access and working with transit agencies to provide more options for transportation, including expanded express bus service, more frequent Sounder train service, and completing the rail connection to DuPont, one of Pierce County's most southern cities. And whereas this year, Pierce Transit launched the Stream Community Line, a rapid and convenient high-capacity transit service between Spanaway and Tacoma Dome Station that features upgraded amenities, fewer stops, increased frequency operating alongside Route 1. The Stream Community Line offers faster connections and easier access to regional transit with detailed schedules available through the Regional Trip Planner and the Stream Community Line webpage at piercetransit.org/stream. And whereas Sound Transit opened the Tacoma Link Station expansion last summer and extended light rail service to the Tacoma Urban Core by 2.4 miles and 6 additional stops, including service to 2 hospitals, stadium, and hilltop neighborhoods. And whereas the One Regional Card for All, otherwise known as ORCA, connects Pierce County residents to Pierce Transit buses, van pools, paratransit, Sound Transit trains, express buses, and Washington State ferries. The ORCA card connects people to transit agencies in King, Kitsap, Snohomish, and Thurston counties, and Pierce County provides an ORCA card to all county employees as a benefit to their public service. And whereas the Pierce County Ferry System, which serves communities of Anderson and Ketron Islands, celebrates its 100th anniversary of service in April 2022. And whereas more work is needed at the local, regional, and state levels of government to ensure that more residents have equitable access to bicycle and pedestrian-friendly infrastructure that connects transit stops, and the Pierce County Council is committed to working towards this through their Vision 2050 plan. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this, the 28th day of May 2024, by the Pierce County Council that June 2024 is proclaimed Ride Transit Month in Pierce County, Washington, and the Council encourages all community members to ride public transit whenever, wherever possible.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you to both of you for being here. We would love to hear remarks.
Well, I'll start. I want to thank everybody. I'm Ryan with Pierce Transit. The county council, as well as county staff, have always been a very strong supporter of our system and for the work that we do. Councilmember Campbell mentioned the stream system, which opened up. We're happy to report that even with the limited commute hours only Monday through Friday, we're transporting 800 additional people along that corridor that didn't have a trip for the time that they wanted to go, or at least didn't have the transportation that made sense for them to commute. So we're excited to expand that as soon as possible. And we're also excited that every time I talk to anybody on this council, we get some ideas and some interest in further service. So We know there's a lot of work to be done in our current service area, but there's also work to be done in parts of unincorporated Pierce County and outside of our current service area to figure out how to get some people back into the fold. So with that, turn things over to Laura, who's also one of our strongest supporters.
Thank you, Ryan.
I feel like this is too tall. Hi, everybody. Laura Swanzarek with Downtown on the Go. We're the nonprofit advocate and resource for the greater Tacoma area. Thank you for declaring June as Ride Transit Month. I think in a year where we have a comprehensive plan update, where one of the alternatives is called high-capacity transit, you don't need us to come up here and tell you about how important transportation is. So we appreciate your continued leadership in making public transit better for everyone in Pierce County. And I encourage you, there's thousands of people in Pierce County throughout all of your districts who are dependent on public transit. And I encourage you to go out and ride a route in your district, experience what that's like to get around using transit, and talk to some folks on those bus routes and see what you hear from people. So just encourage you to get out and ride Pierce Transit when you can. And thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Mr. Whedon, is June 1 to kick off Ride Transit Month? Is June 1 free on the entire Pierce Transit system?
I believe so. I think this is a big day for us, and hopefully people will be able to get out and not just try transit, but also if you're out and you typically pay for a fare, get out and ride even more that day.
Thank you. Are there remarks by other council members? Vice Chair Campbell.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all for being here to receive this, and for everyone on this important proclamation. It wasn't as mentioned in here as I would have liked. The amount of essential rides that Pierce Transit gives, particularly people facing mobility issues and disabilities, helping them get to doctor's appointments, which many times can be several times a week. And knowing that that is an important part of medical care for many, the life-saving aspect of so much of that is important. And so we need to make sure that when we're riding transit, lots of great benefits, but know that for many, it is the difference between life and death of being able to get to a doctor or not being able to get to a doctor. And so important, but the amount of work we've done on all of this is incredibly just what we've done over the last few years. I do want to note that while we did celebrate the 100th anniversary of service for the Pierce County ferry system, the rumor's not true. We're not still using the same ferries we used 100 years ago. We have updated them, working on continuing to update and just provide more services everywhere for everyone. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. Councilmember Hitchin.
There we go, talking about ferries. I know I'm going to get a rider alert when I walk back to my office. So thank you all for being here. I just want to do a plug to community and my colleagues about the week without driving, even if you can only do one day. So it's officially this year, according to Google, September 30th to October 6th. And so whether it's the month of June, you find a day to just say, today I'm going to just get around on transit and just see what that's like. Or you try and do it over the course of the week. It's always fascinating to think about some of the most simplest things that we take for granted because we can hop in our car, how complicated they then become if you have to depend on transit. And then what does that mean if you truly are transit dependent to your life and your ability to move around? And it's in systems that work well and are well coordinated. It's amazing. You can get lots of places and do things. When we are still trying to build our system, which is what we are trying to do, it's a little more challenging, especially when you have parts of our county that don't have transit. So just appreciate the work, appreciate that we continue to call it out. And September 30th to October 6th, if anybody wants to take it on, it's a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin. Well, thank you, Vice Chair Campbell, for making sure we lifted up Ride Transit Month. This is transit is such an important way to move more people to opportunity, and that we pause and celebrate this and lift up the hard work of our transit systems. As Vice Chair Campbell indicated, we've been doing a lot to try to improve the system with the limited resources that we have. We've launched the the runner service, which connects folks who are just a little too far from walking to a bus stop, where they can get into basic, I think most of us call it public Uber. It is so popular that we're slowing the roll on advertising it, so maybe we shouldn't promote this part of this, but it is so popular that Pierce Transit is literally slowing the roll on the marketing. So many folks just live just a little too far from a transit stop. It's a very popular service. But, other things that have come online very recently, the Youth Ride Free program. All riders 18 and under can ride completely free as often as they want. Our new Orca Lyft program, which is a low-income fare program, is new to Pierce County. And previous speakers talked about how many folks are transit dependent. And I know we think about that all the time. About 20% of folks in Pierce County don't drive for any number of reasons, close to 1 in 5. And this allows folks to still be independent, right? So you might be too young to drive and get a license. You might be aging and still wanting to age in place and have your mobility and your freedom. And transit allows you to have that mobility and freedom long into your life. You might not have an ability to drive a car. Cars are expensive. Owning your own transportation is really expensive. The average American spends about 15% of their household budget on running their car payment, their insurance, parking, maintenance, all of it. About 15% of the average American's budget is on driving a car. If you can free that up, and if you had the ability to have transit to be able to run all or most of your life, that's a lot of money back in your pocket to have some freedom with. So transit is so important to moving people to opportunity, and we just appreciate you allowing us to lift up the importance of transit to move more folks to opportunity and to run their life. So we would love to invite you up here to grab a photo with us so we can further promote this. And is there any objection to bringing back the items that we moved off the consent agenda at this time? I don't see any. So we have proposal R 2024-165 before us. Councilmember Herrera for a motion, please.
Chair, I move proposal R 2024-165 for approval.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 2024-165. Madam Clerk, please read the title.
Proposal number R 2024-165, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of one new member to the South Hill Advisory Commission.
Thank you. Mr. Went. Thank you.
He raised his hand, maybe help.
Elvin, thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm on. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you for joining us. Elvin, we have your appointment in front of us. We have the benefit of your background material, the written materials that were in our packet, but we're so glad you're here. We would love to have you briefly introduce yourself and share why you wish to serve.
Okay, well, my name is, as you know, is Elvin LaRue, and I live out on 11006 Shawnee Road East, which is kind of in the north end of South Hill, but still part of the South Hill area. I'm excited to be considered as a member of the South Hill Advisory Commission. I've attended many meetings in the last couple of years. I have lived in Pierce County most of my life and have seen tremendous growth in the South Hill area. And as you know, growth has created challenges in transportation, services, and schools. And I look forward to being part of helping to find solutions in these challenges. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Well, thank you for your willingness to serve and your willingness to be with us. Are there questions for Elvin before we open up for a public hearing? Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank Elvin's past work with the 162nd Community Group. That's a really involved, proactive group, and that is a testament of your commitment to getting on this. So we saw that in your packet, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Herrera. I don't see any other hands. So this is a public hearing on this appointment of one new member to the South Hill Advisory Commission, Elvin LaRue. Any member of the public wish to provide comment? We'll start here in council chambers. I'm not seeing any. Mr. Weinsberry, anybody in our Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposal number R2024-165, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there final remarks by council members? Thank you again, Elvin, for your willingness to serve. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Denson.
Here, aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. Thank you again, Elvin. We have resolution 2024-166 before us. Vice Chair Campbell for a motion, please.
I'd like to move R 2024-166.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 2024-166. Madam Clerk, please read the title.
Proposal number R 2024-166, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of one new member to the Transportation Advisory Commission.
Thank you. And this is Amen Tony Hester.
Sure.
Vice Chair Campbell.
And I don't believe Mr. Hester is actually with this. I pulled this off because I actually wanted to speak to this a little bit.
Thank you.
And I believe that was the appropriate way to do it. Mr. Hester is going to be an excellent addition, visually impaired and blind, and has to navigate our transportation systems. What became apparent, and he'd come to some of us before, acknowledging that our Transportation Commission, our Parks Commission, and some other commissions don't have a seat representing people with disabilities on it. He's on our Disability Commission, but that we really use that to focus on internal policies or Pierce County policies. But people like him who are visually impaired don't necessarily have a voice in transportation or parks or other areas outside that, and came seeking to see what we can do to provide that space. Fortunately, we were able to get him on there now, and he can bring that. But if he's to come off, there's no guarantee that be replaced. And so I hope to, this fall, I believe October is Disability Awareness Month, to hopefully bring a look at some of our boards and commissions for creating an additional spot for people with disabilities on our at least parks, transportation, and other relevant commissions, because I think it's an important voice. I know for me recently, having someone who was mobility restricted and how much that changed everything, providing accommodation is not providing access. If you were to come in, if one of us as a council member was to show up in a wheelchair, someone could hold the door open for us to get in, but you're still dependent on someone else. You don't have that access yourself. You can be accommodated, but not have that access. And having someone in these committees, I think, will be important long term. So I wanted to use this opportunity to bring awareness that he brought in there and make sure that it's echoed across here, and something that I'll be working on over the next few months.
Thank you for those remarks, Vice Chair Campbell, and for the preview of the work to come that you'll be leading. Any other comments at this time? I don't see any. This is a public hearing on Resolution 2024-166, making an appointment to the Transportation Advisory Commission. Any member of the public wish to provide comment? We'll start here in chambers. I'm not seeing Mr. Weinsberry, anybody in the Zoom room.
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposal number R 2024-166, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at the time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there final remarks by council members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on Resolution 2024-166.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. We continue on with our regular business under resolutions. We have proposal R 2024-160 before us. Vice Chair Campbell for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I move. Sorry. 140.
160.
160. Okay. Thank you, Chair. I move proposal number R 2024-160.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 2024-160. Madam Clerk, please read the title into the record.
Proposal number R 2024-160, a resolution of the Pierce County Council authorizing the Pierce County Executive to execute an interlocal agreement with the City of Tacoma regarding the Tacoma-Pierce County Employment and Training Consortium, said agreement using the title Amendment Number 2,
Last line, please.
Agreement Website.
Thank you. Mr. Cox, good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Mello, members of the council, Jeff Cox, council staff. The amendatory update in front of you contained in this resolution will update the pre-existing interlocal agreement between the City of Tacoma and Pierce County concerning workforce development, and it will align the ILA with updated federal standards, and it will clarify language describing the relationship. The resolution gives the executive authority to execute the proposed ILA and asks the Finance Department to record the agreement on the county's dedicated interlocal agreement website. By way of background, interlocal agreements are authorized by RCW 3934. Pierce County and the City of Tacoma have been working together on workforce development dating back to 1982, and the parties used an interlocal agreement to structure that relationship. The amendments found in this resolution will modify the terms of that relationship and bring it into compliance with the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The amendatory language will update the agreement's governing structure and will form a consortium to facilitate the parties acting jointly as a local workforce development area. Local workforce development areas are also authorized by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The consortium will be known as the Tacoma-Pierce County Employment and Training Consortium. Further changes are made to facilitate compliance with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The parties intend this document to serve as a CEO agreement, and that's described in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And it will create and designate the Executive Council as the chief executive official, also described in the aforementioned federal law. The agreement will designate Pierce County Workforce Development Board as the local workforce investment board. It'll be hereinafter referred to as the local board, and as required by, again, the federal law. The parties recognize that the Amendment Number 1 to the Tacoma-Pierce County Employment and Training Consortium Interlocal Government Agreement constitutes the entirety of the current agreement between the parties, and the agreement is being replaced in its entirety with this Amendment Number 2. This received a due pass recommendation on May 20th of this month by the Rules and Operations Committee. I'd like to point out that Katie Condit, Executive Director of the Workforce Central, is available here, and I think she's willing to answer questions you might have. I'd also be happy to field questions.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us, Ms. Condit. Thank you, Mr. Cox, for the briefing. We did get to have a discussion and brief dialogue with the CEO, Ms. Condit of Workforce Central, so thank you. Any questions or comments before we take Council Amendment number 1? I don't see any. Vice Chair Campbell to move Amendment 1, please.
Thank you, Chair. I move Council Amendment number 1 to Proposal R 2024-160.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Council Amendment number 1. Mr. Cox to brief.
Yes, the proposed Council Amendment number 1 amends the newly revised ILA to make it consistent with the text of the fully incorporated Safe Tacoma version of the amended ILA.
Thank you. I know there were many folks to coordinate with, other legal counsels from the city and Workforce Central and others, so thank you for the coordination. Any questions about Council Amendment number 1 before us? Vice Chair Campbell.
Just a quick question. This brings us in line with City of Tacoma. Probably could ask it after we adopted it. Has City of Tacoma already adopted theirs?
Yes, there's a version. Yes, they have.
All right. Like how many months ago are they? Yeah, only took us 11 months to adopt what the city did.
Thank you. Yeah, for
Thank
those who couldn't hear, it's okay. Vice Chair Campbell asked, when did the City of Tacoma adopt the agreement in the form that we're about to amend to? And the answer was June 2023. Want to make sure folks at home could hear. Vice Chair Campbell.
No more questions on the amendment.
We'll take a voice vote on the adoption of Council Amendment number 1. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion is adopted. We have Resolution 2024-160 as amended before us. We will open this up for a public hearing. Any member of the public wish to provide comment, we'll start here in council chambers. Seeing no one come to the podium, Mr. Weinsbury, anybody in the Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposal number R 2024-160, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Any final remarks by council members? Well, I'll just briefly remark it. Vice Chair Campbell represents the County Council on Workforce Central, and we're so grateful to have such a capable Chief Executive Officer in Katie Condit for this really important work. There's so much workforce development work going on. We have such shortages in so many fields. So many industries are feeling it. And the need as, automation takes hold in the workforce, and such a fiercely globally competitive marketplace, it's so important that we have a workforce training arm really looking at how we are able to upskill and reskill employees so that they can be competitive, and that we have such an able workforce development agency supporting all local governments and the private sector here. It just really makes us competitive, and we're very grateful for the skill and the amazing work of our Workforce Central Board. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2024-160?
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. We have Resolution 2024-167 before us. Vice Chair Campbell for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I move proposal number R 2024-167.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 2024-167. Madam Clerk, please read the title.
Proposal number R 2024-167, a resolution of the Pierce County Council committing the county to the Consolidated Permit Review Grant Program requirements.
Thank you. Mr. Boki, good afternoon.
Thank you, Chair Mello, Paul Boki, council staff. Major changes were made to the Local Project Review Act, RCW 3670B, with the passage of Senate Bill 5290 in 2023. The bill mandates that the Department of Commerce establish a grant program that enables jurisdictions to consolidate residential building permit review in order to address housing shortages across the state. The proposed resolution commits the county to the building permit review consolidation requirements of SB 5290. And those are detailed in sections 1 through 6 of the resolution, beginning at the bottom of page 1. So prior to receiving grant funding, the local government applying for the grant must adopt the resolution or ordinance that commits the jurisdiction to the building permit review consolidation requirements. And so that is part of that. The date for application of the grant is May 31st, which I believe is Friday. And there are a number of items involved here. There's eligible grant activities are listed, and there's 4 of those. And I'm reading directly, actually, out of the application materials. Consolidated review of residential permits may include an initial technical peer review of the application for conformity with the requirements of the Local Project Review Act. There could be contracting with a third-party business to conduct the consolidated permit review, or as an additional inspection staff. Any funds expended for such a contract may be eligible for reimbursement. 3 would be contracting with outside assistance to audit development regulations to identify and correct barriers to housing development. 4 would be staff/consultant time and expenses necessary to process changes to codes in order to comply with the 45 to 90-day permit decision timelines, fee guidance, or other requirements of the grant. The eligible activities funded under this grant will run from July 1st, 2024 until June 15th, 2025. For any further information on this, we have both the Public Works Director, Ms. Jen Tatatson, and we also have Rachel Foy from our Planning Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mr. Boki. The council had the benefit of getting a briefing and discussion about this at our study session last week. Rachel and Director Tatatson, thank you for joining us. What do you have to add to what Mr. Boki shared?
Good afternoon, Jen Tatatson here, Planning and Public Works Director. I think Mr. Boki covered it well. The only thing I would add is, as part of our workflow improvement project, we've been taking a lot of steps internally to be prepared for this consolidated review concept, and we're excited at the opportunity for Commerce to help offset some of the costs of our operations. So I have a lot of confidence that we can meet the challenges of this one-year grant program and then sustain it through the WIP changes that we're making.
Thank you for your leadership, Director Tatatson.
Thank you for the support.
Council members, do you have any questions or comments before we open up for a public hearing? I don't see any. This is a public hearing on Resolution 2024-167. Any member of the public wish to provide comment? We'll start here in council chambers. Not seeing any. Mr. Weinsberg, anybody in the Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposal number R 2024-167, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there final remarks by council members? Well, Director Tatatson, thank you again for the work that you've been leading for some time to make the permitting process a little bit more predictable and easier to navigate and more efficient. You've been reorganizing the staff and putting a lot of effort into this. And as you said, hopefully this authorization for this grant program hopefully allows us to offset some of the costs of some technology upgrades and other staffing costs that have been undertaken for some time to, again, make the permitting system a little bit more efficient and more predictable for all involved. And we're grateful for your leadership. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2024-167?
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin,
Aye.
Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. Under Section 9 ordinances, there are none today. We're at Section 10, Community Forum. Community Forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that is of significance to or affecting Pierce County government and that did not appear on today's agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit. We ask that you state your name if you would like it on the record and to address all comments to the chair. We'll start with those in council chambers. Does anybody here in council chambers wish to participate in Community Forum? I don't see any. Let's turn to our Zoom room. Mr. Weinsbury.
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close Community Forum portion of our meeting. Item number 11 is other business and announcements. Is there any other business or announcements by council members? Councilmember Denson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. 2 things. I wanted to congratulate one of our local Gig Harbor residents and business owners, Gary Parker, for being named the South Sound Citizen of the Year. Gary owns Barbecue to You, which is an excellent barbecue place in Gig Harbor. I've used it myself for parties. It's delicious. And he donates a lot of food. He has a lot of events at his restaurant. He brings in especially a lot of seniors for activities to help get them out of their homes and socialize, and does a lot of assistance in partnering on fundraising efforts with different nonprofits around the area. So congratulations, Gary Parker, and thank you for all of your hard work. And then secondly, I just want to remind everyone that next week on June 5th, the County Council is going to be going to the Science and Math Institute at Point Defiance Park, June 5th, 6 p.m. This is the District 7 in-district meeting, and we will all be there, and looking forward to really highlighting the county's environmental efforts and efforts of our partners, and then hearing from constituents throughout Pierce County naturally, but in particular, I hope we get a lot of Tacoma residents out. Tell us how we can make their lives better. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Denson. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to thank the Chair for taking a moment of silence in remembrance of folks who lost their lives. I just wanted to say 2 names. One was Private Daniel Estep. He was from the 737th Transportation Company, and he lost his life in uniform when he was just 18 years old. And that was the unit I was with. And also, no relations, I just wanted to say Sergeant First Class Rocky Herrera, who also lost his life in Afghanistan. So I just wanted to say that. And to pivot again, I just wanted to let folks know there's the 11th annual Veterans Resource Fair this weekend, Saturday, June 1st, 2024, at the Tacoma Dome between 9 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. This resource fair is for veterans to connect and to get information on services that are available for veterans here, from VA benefits to legal services to job opportunities, a medical screening. I know that our own human services will be there, along with our Pierce County Veterans Program and many other folks to help veterans here. So again, it's Saturday, June 1st, 2024 at the Tacoma Dome, the Veteran Resource Fair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for highlighting that, Councilmember Herrera. Any other business or announcements by members? Well, I just wanted to give a note of congratulations and welcome to a guest in council chambers today. Manuela Zhang is Rogers High School RAM for 12 more days. Manuela is a senior at Rogers High School here in Puyallup, here on a civics project, one of those final class projects. So Manuela, thank you for coming and joining us here at the Pierce County Council. Ms. Long, is there any other business for council this afternoon?
Not today, thank you.
Seeing no other business before the Pierce County Council, we are adjourned.